Hello viewers and welcome back to American City History. We have moved on to the next state, which is Arkansas. The only city that I will be doing in this state is Little Rock. Sorry Fayetteville, you didn't quite make the cut. Little Rock is located in central Arkansas. The area is considered humid subtropical and gets very little snow with humid summers. The area in and around Little Rock was inhabited for centuries by the Arkansas Native Americans. In 1722, a French explorer named Bernard de la Harpe was exploring up the Arkansas River when, on April 9th, he noticed an outcropping of rocks next to the river. He called this outcropping Le Petit Roche, or Little Rock in English. Arkansas was part of French Louisiana territory until it was purchased by the U.S. in 1803. During that time, hunters and explorers came through the Little Rock area, but nobody settled permanently. After the Louisiana Purchase, settlers began to come to central Arkansas. In 1812, a man named William Lewis came to the area and stayed for 3 months. While it was not permanent, it was the longest non-native settlement yet. In 1818, the Quapaw Line officially disallowed Native Americans from settling in Little Rock. Arkansas became its own territory in 1819, which led to more settlement. A permanent cabin was built in 1820 near the Petit Roche. Later that year, a post office was established, which officially named the area as Little Rock. Little Rock became one of the main river crossings on the Arkansas, and more people began to move there. On October 18, 1820, the Territorial Governor of Arkansas, James Miller, named Little Rock as the Territorial Capital. Despite being the location of the capital, the city was just a collection of haphazardly placed buildings. The city had not yet been incorporated and had no local government. The territorial government set up an elected board of trustees. The board of trustees would choose one of their own as the president of the board. The city continued to grow until it was incorporated as a town on November 7, 1831, and its first mayor, Matthew Cunningham, was sworn in earlier next year. The city had a large period of growth thanks to the steamboat industry, but that was stopped with the Panic of 1837. Arkansas left the Union on May 8, 1861, and would be part of the Confederacy. Arkansas would not play a big role in the Civil War. The only major battle in the Little Rock area was the Battle of Little Rock in 1863. The battle was a Union victory and the city was taken over and the capital was moved. When the Civil War ended, the local government was restored. A police department was established along with a school district a few years later. A new town hall was also built. The city continued to grow. In the 1870s, the Bering Cross Bridge was constructed, which was the first bridge to cross the Arkansas River in the city. Public transport was introduced as a horse-drawn carriage on rails, which would eventually be turned into a streetcar. In the 1880s, water and electricity systems were established. Streets began to be paved with cobblestone. Sewers and a public telephone exchange were built. Public transport became steam or electricity-powered, and more public transport was set up in the 1890s along with the first fire department and the first park being built. The city grew as the turn of the century neared. North Little Rock split off. A new city hall was built in 1908. The city grew more in the early 20th century. The Donahue Building was constructed in 1926 and became the city's first skyscraper. Radio stations began to open in the city. New large schools opened, and so did the city's first zoo. The city was not hit very hard by the Great Depression, and the New Deal only improved the city by constructing new buildings. Little Rock did not have a large role in the Second World War. In 1941, the city purchased the nearby airfield, which would become the airport. In 1957, the Little Rock crisis occurred. The 1954 Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education said that all American public schools had to desegregate. 9 African-American students had gained permission to attend the Little Rock Central High School. The governor of the state, Orville Faubus, sent in the Arkansas National Guard to prevent them from entering. U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower federalized the National Guard and sent them back to the barracks. He sent in the 101st Airborne to escort the students into school. The 101st Airborne would escort the students for the remainder of the year. The city continued to grow and more businesses moved in. Little Rock Air Force Base was established and several new skyscrapers were built. The city had major expansion in the arts and several neighborhoods were improved in the 1990s. Today, Little Rock is a center for the healthcare, banking, and manufacturing industries. It is the capital and largest city in Arkansas, with a population of almost 200,000. I hope you enjoyed this video.